for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
Drums, dude, air drums. It's all about you, ABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, lifestyle, so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. Now, the way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests that you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out using the hashtag up here or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, Vision Mortgage Home Loan Expert.
Home loan expert and vertical stripe guy. You may know Grant as the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team, but now he's absolutely crushing it in the mortgage game.
Thanks, Skip. You may have seen him in his Mazda Miata with the top down and part of House Hunters, right? That's what happens when you go off strip. And you may see him on HGTV's House Hunters and part of the top 2% producing real estate agents in the city. Whew.
Dude.
Never go off the script. Yeah. Just bomb.
Just a freestyle guy, man. Jeez, that album sucked.
Yeah.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. Aaron Buck Burnett of Duke City Championship Wrestling and the owner of the El Rey Theater here in town. So he's got some cool current events coming through the city that we're going to touch on.
Those are just two. He's got a pretty good resume.
He's got a great resume.
List of businesses he dabbles in. They're all pretty cool.
Big into media as well. So we'll get some backstories and maybe some tips and tricks about how to make this show better. Let's be honest, you know?
Can it? We have a live tree here.
Yeah, it hasn't been watered. And then stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite as we get into Skip's tips. But Grant, dude, what have you been up to, man?
Let's talk about recent happenings. Well, let's cue this up. I had a Lifetime Achievement Award banquet held for my father, who was basically the grandfather of Lobo hockey for 15 years, went strong, kept the program alive. We're running on fumes. So we had a big banquet, and everyone that was a player or from UNM or fans, parents, anyone that was affiliate of the program, we had them on, and some spoke. But we gave him a nice award and much overdue, but the program is flourishing. There's myself with my siblings, my brother on the right, sister on the left, and my dad is the oldest guy in the picture. It was good. He was kind of taken back. It took him about 15 minutes to figure out what's going on because we told him we were going to have a beginning of the year meeting with the players, and then he comes into this and everyone's clapping. He's just, he's 77, so things take a little bit longer, but he was certainly smitten, and you were there for it, so thank you. You got some
I made
moments.
an appearance too. Actually, I've never missed a party, but let's shout out to Revel Entertainment, one of our first guests on the show. What fantastic venue, Revel. That was my first time going there.
So they have it in the Dueling Piano Bar. What I do enjoy about Revel is it lends itself to so many different venues and I guess events. They can house the MMA fights, big octagon ring, and then they can host concerts, and then they have a sports bar, piano bar. Yeah, you know the drill, but you can't pump their tires enough. One more thing I did because you just asked was I went to a Smashing Pumpkins concert, and that's so great that these big artists are coming in just like The Cure came in and Smashing Pumpkins. It's kind of unbelievable that we're seeing this talent make a resurgence back into Albuquerque, found a way.
Yeah, it looks like they missed Albuquerque when they were hot.
And he's, Billy Corgan still sounds great. Kind of high school, college years. Man, takes me back. I love that stuff.
Takes you back to this weekend, huh?
I can remember when. What'd you do?
Oh man, I bounced around a little bit, had some family stuff going on, but I wanted to jump in and kind of talk a little bit about some of the biggest news that's going on in Albuquerque right now. We've always talked about economic development and what kind of industry is coming to town here in Albuquerque. How are we creating new jobs? Why would anybody want to move to Albuquerque? So one of the biggest economic boosts coming to Albuquerque is the Maxion Solar Technologies deal. Are you familiar with this?
No, I glanced over it, but what's the deal?
So it's a Singapore-based solar panel manufacturing, and they're building out a 1 billion, 3 gigawatt solar panel factory in Albuquerque over at Mesa del Sol. The factory is expected to create 1,800 jobs and is scheduled to be completed in 2025. So a huge facility kind of putting Albuquerque on the map and bringing a lot more solar industry here. It's a major economic development for Albuquerque and New Mexico. It's their first production facility in the United States, and it will help to bring solar manufacturing industry into not only New Mexico, but the whole country. So again,
that's interesting. I think a lot of times, again, we hate naysayers on this show, so we like to put them on blast. People think it's not advantageous to live here. There's no jobs and stuff. I think we've had a great deal of influx of businesses coming in here and choosing to do business because probably tax incentives. Was there a reason why they chose us? Did it say in the article?
A few different things. I mean, we can get deeper into the root of the deal, but again, it's because of our distribution, right? We're right here on I-25 and I-40. Yeah. We have the railway. We have the Sunport right there. So for distribution, it makes sense to jump into Albuquerque. Plus, dude, we got plenty of places to build, so we got nothing but open space.
In here. Yeah, we have 3 houses available. Do you want one? 1,800 people. I do think that it bodes well for the Mesa del Sol development. That was a place where people went, it'll never work. I mean, it was lucky and happenstance, but Netflix and what we got out there, the Amazon and
sure.
They're building it, and we were told on the guest before about economic development. Saying provide the infrastructure, and they'll come. So
if you build it, they will come. So again, just another thing that's putting Albuquerque on the map. And also shout out to Virgin Galactic.
We're running out of time. Let's jump into assumable rates and the myths about it and the facts. So let's go to our mortgage minute. Assumable loans, what are they? And how do they work? And do they work? Assumable loans. So these used to be loans that could happen with Fannie Mae and Freddie back in the day, right? A lot of the old heads would talk about assumable loans, and how gas used to be 25 cents. Well, just like the 25 cents per gallon gas prices, assumable loans are pretty much gone. I'll tell you who gets to use them and the probability of employing them. VA loans are eligible to be assumed. And why would we want to assume a loan? Well, given the current rate culture of 7% plus, the ability to assume someone else's loans when a lot of VAs are in the 2.5, 3%, that's lucrative, and that's a good selling point. If you're a seller and you want to say, I have an assumable loan, I think you become, the allure is greater for someone else that would like to take on the 2.5%. Now, who's eligible for this? Only other VA members. Only a VA person can assume a VA loan. And so now, are these viable? Do they work? I'll tell you, probably percent is 50. They put you through the ringer. They take a long time. And just imagine this. The servicer of this loan has to approve it, and they've got to move it along. The problem is someone who's servicing their loan has already serviced this before. Their incentive is very low to make this assumable to the next person. All it does is take more work, and they don't make any more profit. So be wary about assumable loans. They can happen. It's quite a process. Thank you. Mortgage Minute. I feel like I was doing a commercial towards the end.
This whole show is a commercial for Sold by Skip merchandise now
and
available.
Solar panels.
No, but assumable loans. I had my brother and sister-in-law were doing an assumable loan in California. A lot of hoops to jump through. Like you said, servicers have no incentive to do it because there's no upfront cost associated with it, so they don't make any money, but they got to do double the legwork.
The con of that is, too, if you are the person that is giving the assumable loan and says it wants to transfer it to another person, keep in mind that your eligibility is tied up with it. So whatever loan amount they have out there, that's robbing some of your VA eligibility that can be found on your certificate of eligibility. So just know that if you're going to basically lend that loan to someone else, they're tying up some of your VA funding. So coming up in the next segment, Aaron Buck Burnett of Duke City Championship Wrestling, and one of the owners. You may have heard of him, the Buck and Deck show, right? They did that. That might be a good
segue. Owner of the El Rey Theater here in town, historic El Rey Theater, man.
He's got his hands in about 17 things. Can't wait to rattle them off.
Yeah, and then of course stay tuned to the end of the show when we jump into Skip's tips. So stay tuned. Yo, welcome back to ABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in town.
Grant Harvey, lender at Vision Mortgage.
We got an awesome guest coming up. This is going to be a fun segment. You know, we always like to highlight movers and shakers in town and people that have cool businesses or give back to the community in some way. So Aaron Burnett of Duke City Championship Wrestling and owner of the El Rey Theater here in town. Dude, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You guys are gonna make me blush.
No, well, look, it's
Speaking so nice about me.
You're
We'll
just
pump
like,
your tires. That's where you can come on here. We'll pump your tires.
yeah, and local celebrity too. I feel like so. You know, you came to Albuquerque at 6
Yeah.
when you were 6 years old. But I mean, talk about growing up. Where'd you go to high school?
I actually went to 2 high schools. I went to 3 high schools. So I started at Highland, moved to the East Mountains for a little bit, and went to Moriarty, and then came back here and actually graduated from what I call Albuquerque's first charter school, which is Freedom High School.
Yeah, freedom.
Nice, one of those guys. I love that.
I'm one of those guys. Yeah.
Well, good. So now you wear so many hats now, and the one you're wearing today is Duke City Championship Wrestling.
Yep.
Talk a little bit. What the hell is Duke City Championship Wrestling?
So it's basically, it's kind of a throwback to the glory days of wrestling. Like when I was a kid, I used to wake up on Saturday mornings and watch wrestling on WTBS. You know, it was the Iron Sheik, it was Jimmy Superfly Snuka, you know, Roddy Piper, guys like that. And really, Duke City Championship Wrestling is kind of an embodiment of that, because it seems like the new wrestling is, it's just really not my speed. You know, I like kind of the glory days of wrestling, and that's what we've kind of gone back to.
Yeah, we talked about that. I love wrestling. I grew up with that too. I remember watching Tugboat and
JYD?
Macho Man Randy Savage. I thought that it had its own style, and then it became corporate, right? They made it
It's publicly
a soap
traded.
opera,
Yeah.
right? And so it kind of lost the allure for people like me. I stopped following it. But the way you want to put it together and have been sounds like, you know, I'm back in, and I think a lot of people in our age group would say, like, let's go check this out.
Yeah, we've got a guy who's helping us kind of spearhead all of this, especially dealing with the wrestlers, and his name is Hobo Hank. And, you know, Hobo Hank's story is he lives behind a dumpster behind the Frontier Restaurant. And
Yes.
he's like a rock star. I mean, people, they're chanting for him when he comes out. It's insane. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
So where do you find professional wrestlers? I mean, are
Behind
they
the Frontier.
Well,
You told
we
me.
all know that, but do you have to import from out of state? Is there like a pro wrestling circuit that comes through?
Yeah, there are, but we typically we try to use as many local guys as we can, because believe it or not, there's actually a very large professional wrestling community here in Albuquerque. And we have a relationship with some people in Texas. So we have a lot of people coming in from Texas, from Lubbock, from Amarillo, Dallas, that are coming in.
Of course they would come from Lubbock.
It's perfect because it's Texas versus New Mexico.
Oh,
you know?
Oh,
Right.
yeah, you don't even want to get me started.
Yeah.
Skip goes by the name of Scary Larry on stage. Hey, tell me, Buck, do you think you could put a guy like this on here?
We could figure something out for you.
Mark,
man,
cue
for
up
sure.
that wrestler we saw. Oh, okay, let's do this too. Let's look at this a little bit. Look at that.
So anytime I hear of like pro wrestling, you always see.
Oh, look at.
Delgado took early advantage with his quickness and agility, but could not surmount the power of Vendetta. But in
That looks like Bam Bam Bigelow, kind of. Remember him?
Yeah, that kid comes out to the little kid comes out to Baby Shark every time.
All right,
Yeah.
I like that. I like that off the turnbuckle. Now let's talk about that. I think that local wrestler, Mark, that we had found. See if he could put a. Do you think you could put this guy in your repertoire?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that you? Is that you? Is that a knockoff on Randy the Macho Man?
Man. It's about time this paid off.
All you need is a Slim Jim.
Yeah, see ya, UABQ. I've got a new career. Yeah, I did. I brought plenty of Slim Jims, and man, are they awful.
Well, I will say this: the production value of that was pretty good. So many times you see backyard wrestling clips on YouTube or something, and it's just
Guy eating glass, jumping off his roof onto a
into a
table.
wheelbarrow or something. But that looked like it had a pretty good quality announcers, lighting, and all
The
that.
stunts too. I enjoy a good turnbuckle jump, man. I think everyone avoids that, or they end up dying shortly. If you know what you're doing, right? I know that sport could be super dangerous, but there's some longevity in wrestling if you can keep your body in shape and
Yeah.
not just going for broke in one show.
Yeah, for sure. Hobo Hank's 40. How old is he? He's 45.
Yeah,
And
I
he's
would
been
love
wrestling
to have him.
He's been wrestling professionally for 30
The
years.
poster board goes, if you think you can't survive as a wrestler, check out Hobo Hank. Yeah.
So let's talk about it a little bit. Where do you hold the wrestling matches?
We do it basically the third Thursday of every month at the El Rey Theater.
Okay.
And so we can do about 650 people. And right now, we have an event coming up. I think we're probably about 3/4 sold out. So it's just growing and growing and growing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's insane.
Okay, so let's. I love.
That's Charlie. That's one of the bad guys. Say the guy in the black, but the guy with the basically the baseball jersey on with the white print.
I love the tie up there.
He's one of the guys from Texas.
Okay. Oh, let's get him out of here.
Yeah.
I hope we beat
We're
his
battling
ass
with those
then.
guys. We actually have some women coming up wrestling here soon too.
Holy
Some women
smokes!
involved,
Skip
yeah.
can go put on our producer's pants and get out there too.
You guys need to come out to an event.
We want to look. The problem is we keep hearing about things faster than we can get to them, and so I don't want to stop the story here. Let's go down the list of things you have your hand in or owner of, including let's talk about this coffee shop you have going on now.
Okay, so yeah, I've decided there's an influx and an oversaturation of dispensaries in town. I've been doing consulting with dispensaries for about 3 years now here in town, and I decided that I wanted to get into the game, but you have to have that differentiating factor that's going to separate you and somebody else. So I think now everything needs to be Cannabis Plus. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually building a coffee shop called Smokin' Joe's Coffee and Cannabis.
Yes.
And it's really going to be more of a coffee shop, but it's going to sell cannabis as well. But we're not going to have like a huge, crazy menu. We'll have a little bit of flowers, some pre-rolls, a couple of edibles, a couple of cartridges, and that's it. We're going to focus on.
Let's talk about the difference in his establishment with others. This one is one you will actually get to sit down and enjoy the experience and not just kick you out the door, including what you would expect in a coffee shop, to be able to sit down and chill out for a little bit instead of running out the door, right?
Yeah. We actually have a space that's it's a pretty good sized space, and we're going to set it up where it's going to be extremely comfortable for people that are going to be coming down there, and a lot of elbow room and good music. And
well, that's great. I mean, working in the real estate industry, you're always looking for a coffee shop you can pull over and use some Wi-Fi and use it as a mobile office, and maybe blow off some steam, if you know what I mean. So what are the rules? Are you allowed to consume cannabis in public like that?
Well, I mean,
or is it you put it in the teas or something?
The rules are funny, Skip.
Our mayor has kind of hamstrung us here in Albuquerque as far as the rules concerning consumption. They say you're not supposed to be able to use outside, but I mean, I have businesses downtown, and I walk around and see people smoking joints all the time.
In Albuquerque?
Yeah.
No,
believe it or not.
Yeah.
I
What
know.
street is this? We'll
Wait a
report it
minute.
right now.
Mayor
I think
Keller.
you just have to put a blanket over your head and eat your gummies. Skip's got so many gummies in the center's console, we can't even shut it.
They're all just melted. Just grab a handful.
One giant gummy
Now I can finally get high.
So talk a little bit more about some of the other things you have going on. We had Steph Sugar on last week talking about this really cool speakeasy that she likes to perform at. And we go, wait a minute, all of a sudden, we know this guy. So talk a little bit more about the speakeasy.
Yeah, so myself and my partners, there's me and 3 other guys, we basically have the corner of 7th and Central. We have the El Rey Theater, we have the old Golden West, which is now called Inside Out. We have El Rey Liquors, and then down below that, we have Founders Speakeasy, which was kind of my baby. I actually built it with these 2 hands. I did everything. I painted the pinstripes, picked out every decoration. So we have a speakeasy down there, and it's no kidding, best cocktails in the state of New Mexico, hands down.
And so is that, what is that, open just at nights? Or is that?
Right.
Okay.
5 to 2, Monday through Saturday, and close at midnight on.
So I get the premise and the I guess the ambiance is small and what would you say, low awareness, right? I mean, and not in terms of not to say something pejorative, but a lot of people don't know what's out there, and that's kind of the way you want
That's
it.
the way
right?
we want it.
Underground,
So we're not putting this market. Hey, everyone get in here, but there's things that Skip and I don't know that are here. Every time we get on the show, someone will list 5 stuff, and I go, holy smokes, we're going to do the show right. We got to visit these places and actually be more, I guess, in touch with what we got here. But we have a running list, and now we've got 3 things we have to go list just off of our guest here.
So talk about some of the struggles. Like the show is all about Albuquerque and business owners here. Talk about some of the struggles or some of the things you've overcome to become, a successful business owner here in town in multiple different industries.
I think the big one so far for us, especially for me, has been the whole coming and doing business again downtown because, when I got out of the military in the mid-90s, I started working downtown, and it was a little bit rowdy down here, but it wasn't like it was now. And when we took over, when we got our businesses at the end of 2018, that section of downtown was kind of a ghost town, a lot of crime down there, and I really feel like together what we did was we had this synergistic energy with the other businesses down there. So like First Fridays kind of started out on 7th in that little section of street just north of Central, and it was just right there. And then once we came in, we're like, hey, you guys need to come over here and let's spread this thing out. And now you can see what First Fridays is. It basically takes up all of downtown. So the other big thing that we're dealing with right now is, and it's not just an us thing, it's a city thing, it's an everybody thing, but the crime downtown, it's difficult. We had to renew our insurance policy this year, and we probably had 40 companies that declined to insure because of the crime rate.
Is that right?
Yeah, and our insurance is just through the roof now. I mean, I don't even want to tell you what it is. It's crazy expensive.
That's unfortunate because a lot of people, were starting to find out about Albuquerque, right? Big solar companies coming here, bringing industry here. But the first question they always ask when they call is, what's up with the crime stats? And so it's a conversation we always have. Like, let's rip the Band-Aid off. Yeah, there's some places you shouldn't go after dark, and there are incidents where, it affects business, affects the ability to do business.
I think the transparency in that is important, and to say we're acknowledging that, and we're not going to pretend it's not there, and to be honest with people. But the thing is, I know we're coming up with initiatives to get more people on the police force, and to turn this around. I don't think anyone's turning a blind eye to this, but I do applaud you for keep going, because it would be easy to go, it's just too risky. But I know you believe in this, and I know this
100%.
will turn around.
Yeah.
I authentically do think this will turn around.
I was talking to one of the Garcia brothers probably about a year or two ago, and we were talking about
Eddie.
He might have been, but we were talking about what makes it, what signifies a successful town. If you have a healthy downtown, you're going to have a healthy city. And so, really, our focus should be we really do need to focus on what's happening down here and see how we can do that. Because once we have that healthy downtown, it's just going to spread throughout the rest of the town.
Yeah, you never want to regard it as, that's a lost cause and that's it, because it tells the business owners, wait, you're giving up. I do think it's vital, and I remember the times where downtown was a booming, fun place, and it can go back to that. It's not like we've never had that success before. People can tap into that. They've been in Albuquerque for a while, for like when downtown used to be fun. As long as they still have that in their memory, it's worth fighting for. And I think
sure,
it's possible.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, Downtown Distillery is the first place I went with a fake ID. Ladies!
We actually got in the best bar fight in our life at Distillery.
It was an
Did you really?
office Christmas party. Yeah.
There was like 12 on 48, and people were throwing billiard balls and stuff, and that's how Skip and I kind of bonded. We both had a dude in a headlock. We're like, hey, this guy in my mortgage company, he's all right.
What year was that?
2023?
Yeah, 2005.
2005.
Oh, wait, sorry.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, what year are we in? 2003 is what I meant to say. 2003, 2004.
Okay.
But it was boom, and then I was working at Banana Joe's.
Banana
Maloney's.
Republic.
I was working at Maloney's in 22 and 23, and you couldn't get the people out of there once they were in there. It was flooding downtown, and that's when 4th Street didn't go all the way through. It stopped there.
Yeah. We had a couple of crazy. I used to DJ at one bar down here called the University Draft House. That was
okay.
That was
sounds fun.
That was mid-90s. It's next to where the library was. So you had the library in this place. And it was just, you talk to somebody I'm 52, so you talk to somebody who's my age, and they'll tell you the stories.
Yeah.
Their shirts were, life's short, drink beer, And it was,
before we run out of time, talk about your radio stuff and your DJing. You say DJing now. You had a stint there where a lot of people know you by.
Yeah. I was a morning show host in town. I did the morning show for The Edge for about 15 years.
Everyone remembers that too.
Yeah.
I know that
the
voice.
Buck and Deck show. Yeah. And I was with The Edge. I started with The Edge about a year after I got out of the military. So that was 94, like late 94ish, and worked there all the way through 2015.
Talk about your start in radio.
Yeah.
I got discovered at a strip club.
We all did.
How do you think we got this show?
Hey.
No, I was actually DJing at Knockouts, and I'm not kidding. And
I love it.
You'd
be perfect.
And I was DJing at University Draft House, and they were doing a live broadcast, and the station called The Edge had just come on. And the person doing the broadcast told the program director about me. He came down and listened to him, and he says, "I'm going to put you on the radio."
It's just down the street. Do you want to just start having lunches at Knockouts?
Is Knockout still a thing?
Yeah, they
I
got
don't
the
know.
best garlic biscuits in town.
Is that what they call them now?
So, what did you ever have any ambitions about being on the radio, or was this just kind of like,
Yeah, no,
sure, I'll do it?
no, totally. When I got out of the military, I was like very single-mindedly focused on getting on the air because I had seen a movie called Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater, and he was a pirate radio DJ. And I just looked at it and I was like, I can do that, and I want to do that, and I'm going to do that.
Good.
So, but yeah, I think it was like 8-9 months after I was discharged from the military, I was on the air.
That's cool. And that'll segue into, now you currently have a show on KOB.
Yeah,
Plug that.
I'm basically the main fill-in guy on KOB. They keep trying to hire me full time, and I keep saying no. But yeah, I get to scratch the itch that way on KKOB.
Yeah.
And what time does your show start?
So I'll be actually on the next time. I usually fill in for TJ Trout, so I'm usually on the 3 to 6, either 1 to 3 or 3 to 6.
So check what KOB.
KKOB 96.3 KKOB
96.3.
FM.
Yeah, get
FM.
back on that. Get back on the radio.
or 770 if you still have an AM. radio.
770 KKOB.
For all our 82-year-old demographic, you don't have FM was a.
No, it's funny. I had the radio show in San Diego. You were on there, right?
What was it? Stay in your lane.
Between the lines.
Between
dude.
the lanes.
I got
lines.
Between the lines. It aired during
It
happy
was about
hour.
a drug. It's about drugs.
Yeah.
Between your lines.
Aaron Buck Burnett, DukeCityChampionshipWrestling.com, El Rey Theater, plus the Speakeasy, plus the radio show,
The coffee shop.
the coffee shop.
Smoking Joe's NM.
Smoking Joe's. And where's that located?
Corner of Lead and Yale.
Lead and Yale. Gosh, we have so many places to go.
I did put it on the list. We're going to have links to all of your endeavors, all of the things you got going on our website. And
the wrestling event is tomorrow.
Yeah, wrestling events tomorrow.
At
It's basically the third Thursday of every month.
At what time does it start?
Doors are at 6:30. Show starts at 7:30.
At El Rey.
El Rey Theater.
Cool.
Tickets online,
We
DukeCityChampionshipWrestling.com.
need to go to that.
Let's go.
Can we get it? Can you get us
I
in?
got you guys.
I love that.
I'll sit you right next to the
Can I
ring.
dress up like that wrestler character? we
should.
I know. They'll probably be
You'll make the broadcast because your neighbors actually do all our production. So it's broadcast on YouTube, Comcast,
God.
everything.
Can you imagine just strolling out of the house?
Yeah,
Love
that's
that.
how you operate.
Sorry, babe. Gotta go wrestle.
Stay tuned to the end of the show. We're going to jump into everybody's favorite way to wrap up and save your marriage. It's Skip's Tips. Stay tuned.
Great segment there. Buck, I always call him Buck. Fantastic avenue of places to go. It's like the Speakeasy. We're going to go check it out. But we're going to get into our last segment of Skip's Tips. Save your marriage.
That's right, it's Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun, whether that's in real estate or real life. Stop. Boundary dispute. Don't get caught on the wrong side of the line. As a buyer, be sure to do your due diligence so that you understand where the property lines lie when buying a home. Good news is that in New Mexico, the seller will typically provide the buyer with a copy of the property survey. Now, a survey is nothing more than a sketch of the structure and where it sits within the boundary lines. So, if you ever run into a situation where the boundary line runs right through the living room, as a buyer, you're well within your right to cancel the transaction and retain your earnest money deposit. The good news is we typically don't see boundary disputes unless you're buying a home in a rural area like the East Mountains or in Placitas. So take that extra step as a buyer to do your due diligence to understand where the property lines are so you don't get caught on the wrong side of the line. Share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so.
Oh, yeah. That was me from earlier. I like when people say that about pictures. They go, "Oh, that was me from before." Well, that's how pictures work.
Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah. And remember that one where he goes, "Oh, so every once in a while, sometimes my neighbor will knock on the door if my music's too loud, and I'll go around. There's no door here." Mitch Hedberg.
I don't know if there's a knob on your side, but over here it's just blank.
Remember our next episode, we'll just read off Mitch Hedberg.
This
is you, Joe
Mitch
Q.
Hedberg. Every Wednesday night, Sunday mornings here on the Education Channel. Great guest today.
We'll keep increasing the list of places that we all need to go to. In fact, we will get proficient about our own city. But man, I think we have a checklist.
Yeah.
Are we going to that wrestling thing tomorrow?
I mean, I got spare time.
Let's go. Are you going? Rick?
Ricky.
Brett.
Thanks for tuning in. This is All About You, ABQ.
Ah.
You're watching You, ABQ.